What's up everyone, welcome to another video. Today I just want to go over the Delhi Top 5 challenge that was completed yesterday on Tuesday the 9th of September. And it was a pretty interesting challenge motivated by a guy called Abby Empress, guy or girl, called Abby Empress, and I think a guy called Toby as well, who put some money on the GoFundMe, which you can find in the link down in the description. For me to get top 5 with Delhi because, well, multiple reasons. You can say it was because May got top 4 or 3 or something with Delhi, and my argument was anyone can get top 5 if they want to, and I proved it right. I would say so. Usually, you'll see a lot of these pro tournament players. They float in between this, well, top 1 and top 40. You'll often see players. And so my argument was, if they all took it seriously, then the elo for the game would be way higher. But people are not. People are practicing custom games, including myself. So we made it to 2292 elo. And for that, I just want to quickly go over the data, what did I learn, and if you should play Delhi as well. So the Delhi top 5 challenge took me 9 days. And of those days, I streamed, I think, 4 or 5 times. And that was an accumulated 22 hours of playing only Delhi, including queue times, which for that high elo often would mean between 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. If I had another guy that was equal elo, it would be maybe like 1 to 2 minutes. But usually between 3-4 minutes average to 20 minutes. Of requeuing after 5 minutes to avoid having to play against low-level players that would, lose me, 40 elo and gain me like 4 elo or 2 elo. And when I say low-level players, I mean like an 1800 elo guy, because the difference really between top, 60, 50 or something is 500 elo. It's crazy. Top 50 to top 5 is like 600 elo, something like that. So that's really crazy. You win the game, you gain like 5 to 10, 15 elo. You lose the game, and then you lose 40 or 30 elo. So it was a incredibly frustrating 10 losses, of which where one of them was an internet crash, a couple of them was snipes, and a couple of them were some really bad matchups that I'll go through a little bit later. Not the games, but the matchups themselves. So it was 56 Delhi games. 46 of them were wins and 10 of them were losses, and that led to a total of 301 elo gained over all those games. So there could have been 10 more games easily by just losing 1 or 2 more games. So pretty rough to play a game and then lose it, and then you basically lost 3 hours of improvement. So I started at 1991 elo, and my end elo when I got to top 5 was 2292. About 301 elo gained. So what did we learn? Well, I will release a video this Friday for members, which is going to be how to actually play Delhi. I don't want to actually make a video for free because I'm going to share a lot of stuff in that video that I don't want everyone just to know. If they want to know, they can sign up for the memberships. I know that sounds cocky, but I'm also trying to be a professional player, and revealing everything is not a good idea. So I found out how to actually play Delhi, how the timings work, which units to use, what the best comps are, and when to use Tower of Victory versus Dome of Faith, because that landmark is actually playable, which a lot of people don't think so. The worst matchups clearly are China and Xu Shi, but that's actually true for many civs. But for Delhi, it's especially pronounced, because those civs just get online so much quicker than Delhi does. While you're making Gaza Raiders and your first Gaza Raider comes out in like 5 minutes, maybe 5-10, they already have, pro scouts done and are taking up deer and spears out, right? You're just not going to be able to do much with your early game, and then when it comes to the point of taking sacred sites, they already have like 10-15 more units than you. At least that's how it's feeling. You can't play long feudal against these two civs because of Shugenus and eco bonuses, especially the tax system. You see sometimes these civs, I think once I counted like 2k gold at like 11 minutes or something for free, basically, by just playing feudal and getting all upgrades and making units, and drop-offs, of course. So it's really, really hard to play those matchups. Abbasid is another one. Few players know how to play that matchup, at the high level at least, and then there's a lot of people that play wrong by going Eco Wing 2TC. And that leads me to my next point, that almost nobody knows how to counter Delhi, even in like top 30, top 20 on ladder. Now, it's not top 20, top 30 on tournaments, right? You got to remember that there's a big difference in those two things. But the ladder top 30 just goes to show you that you can get top 30 and not know what the heck you're doing. People don't know how to counter Delhi. They don't know how to play around sacred sites and the timings of Delhi, and they don't find these timings against them when Delhi is the weakest, which is very weird to see because, to me at least, Delhi is an extremely linear civ that's easy to counter. If you let it do whatever it wants to, yeah, you're going to lose. Like, it's so strong. You get the free upgrades, just getting an H-up through is free value. And if you don't punish Delhi for getting a free H-up, like H3, for example, or H4, they're just gonna screw you over. Like, you're just not gonna win. But if you do get it right, it feels unplayable for Delhi, which is my next point. Either you're so behind that the civ is just unplayable, the China and Shushi matchup that I just mentioned, or you are so incredibly far ahead, and by just staying alive, you get further and further ahead because of free upgrades, that you literally cannot lose. You can have lost 10 bills, and you're still fine because everything's free, and you get free elephants in H4. You can heal your elephants and get unlimited value out of your units by always pulling healers. One of those more interesting dynamics of Feudal Age Delhi and why it's such a good feudal civ is because you can heal. And not a lot of civs can do that. English can do it. HRL can do it. A couple of other civs. But Delhi is incredible because you could take fights with Ghazi against spears, keep your Ghazi Raiders alive, and then heal them up again. And that's something that players like May are doing incredibly well, which is why they're able to push the civ to its limits and get so high elo, because you heal up units and you just never lose units. It's kind of like French knights. Another thing I found was Tower of Victory is actually fine. Dome of Faith is still the best because your timings become a lot better, but Tower of Victory is incredible. I'm not going to say when to use it, but when I did use it, playing Feudal Age with spears and archers and Ghazi Raiders, you were practically unbeatable in the long feudal. Whereas the short feudal versus somebody who fast castles, it's a little bit of a struggle for sure. If you can't find the damage that you need to and keep the game relevant for you to keep playing Feudal Age. Tower Victory is kind of cool, right? Because it also applies to crossbows and man-at-arms and such, so you can still do these fast castle strats with it. And then I found one thing, and this is not really related to Delhi, but basically, everyone's playing the same strats. Everyone's playing Japan Dark Age Rush, and of course this is with the Delhi perspective in mind, so maybe that's how people think they should counter it. It's not. People play, this Japan Dark Age Rush, which you'll see, but I'm not sure it's the right way to deal with Delhi. A3 Dark Age Rush into Feudal Aggro with like Pro Scouts and stuff, where they're just incredibly weak early Feudal, and Delhi just wins, getting Sacred Sites for free by picking off spears and stuff. And the HOL 3-mana White Tower semi-fast castle, I would say. Pretty sucky upgrade as well, because Delhi just kills your vills on your H-up if they scout well. I don't know, it feels like it's the same strategies. I did face a pretty broad selection of civilizations. It wasn't like everything was China or everything was Shushi. Most of my losses were probably, I would say, Byzantines and China, and maybe a French loss and an HRE loss, something like that. But overall, it was not that bad. It was not like everyone was playing one civ, and that was nice to have that going. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because I'm gonna get to the next part here. So, should you play Delhi? You're a new player? I don't think so. It's a really difficult civ. If you're a seasoned player or you have good mechanics, absolutely, you should play this civ. It's very linear. It's easy to understand. You don't have to think when you play Delhi. You just have to understand when to go for different comps, when to stay a little bit longer in feudal versus when to age up, and you have to not be forgetful. You cannot forget a thing when you play this civ. So if you're a machine, you're StarCraft 2 player, you just want one build that you can just go all the way with, Delhi's the one for you. It is a civ characterized by skill expression through good micro and decision making. And I really mean that. Yes, I said you don't have to think, but like once you know the counters to everything, and that sounds weird to say, but like once you know how to counter feudal all-in versus feudal into castle, how to counter Dark Age Rush, how to counter fast castling, how to counter 2TC, once you know that and what comes to go against each civ, the civ is just a breeze to play. And you can say that's true for every other civ, but it's way more simple to play Delhi. It's not, you know, very complicated compared to other civs. And then it's a civ characterized by skill expression. So skill expression, maybe it's not the right word because I think it also means to just, you know, be able to do cool stuff. But when I say skill expression, for me, at least that term means you're able to micro extremely well, and out micro your opponent and heal your units up with scholars. And that goes in line with understanding unit comps as well. And how to play map and stuff like that, because you often have pocket resources. So it's a really good civ for those kinds of things. You can do cool stuff with front walling, with your military units and abusing gates to take on archer fire or melee damage. So you can even like build stuff with your units. Kind of crazy toxic actually, but it's a way for you to get more out of your units. Yeah. Another thing is if you should play Delhi, you should have to understand that your timings are extremely tight. If you don't get your timings right with Delhi, you can often be locked into pretty long feudal. And that's when Delhi probably is somewhat fine, but sometimes just loses. Again, back to the whole either you're losing or you're winning kind of situation. You have to get your Castle Age timing right? That's the win con. Get the Castle Age timing right. Understand when to stay in feudal. Understand what to do with sacred sites and stuff. When to go one by one sacred sites and when to go for all sacred sites at once. And then you cannot forget anything. That's really true. You cannot forget to take relics on H-up. You have to position your scholars before H3. You have to click every single upgrade. Forgetting an upgrade for a minute is sometimes, you know, can give you a loss. You don't get the pikes upgrade for extra range on your archers and crossbows. It can be really tough to deal with somebody who has more units. You have to scholar pull correctly for sacred sites and for elephant healing, right? So there's a lot of dynamics for this civ that make it complicated. But once you understand them and you have them down, and it's just, you know, you're just a machine to the T, basically. You're just getting it right. You understand when to do everything, and don't forget anything. Then the civ is pretty simple. It's very linear. It's not like you have 5 strats you go for. You have 1 strat. That's sacred sites. All right. That's it for me. I'm going to be releasing a video on Friday, so that's in 2 days, about how to actually play this civ. Going to go through some of my latest games. And yeah, stick around for that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the live streams and the challenge was really fun. If you'd like to see something something similar to this, or you want to challenge me to do something else, put some money on the line for the GoFundMe. It helps me a lot, and I'd love to commit to something. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.